welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the exponential success coach. And today I feel a little bit over my head. Like today's guest knows so much more. Like I always bring experts on, and usually I'm able to play in the arena. I feel like maybe I know something, but I know that there's a lot more that I don't know. Today's guest is Manuj Aggarwal, and he is his expertise is artificial intelligence. He's been doing this for over a decade and a half. He's got a couple of books out there. He's got 4 patents in the arena of artificial intelligence, and his story is one where he worked for $2 a day, ended up making some life shifts, and has been in corporate boardrooms and met with presidents, and it's kind of exciting. So we're going to find out about his story. We're going to find out about what do we all need to know about artificial intelligence, AI. Manuj, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. And you'll be surprised how much you already know about AI as we go into this conversation. So
that's great. It's really good. Among the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that have signed up for ChatGPT, yes, I signed up for it. Yes, I actually signed up for the upgraded level, and I haven't even touched the barest minimum of what AI can do. Mm-hmm. That said, I say the A word. I have a little pod that's the Amazon extension of Alexa, and and I don't want it to spark. So I have that. Obviously, that's AI. Obviously, Siri's AI. Obviously, when you say "Hey," and then you say Google, then it activates. I'm just trying not to activate.
Yeah. Exactly.
But all of that's AI, and we're surrounded by it all the time. And I guess the big question is, how do we? It's not going away. Nobody why would people want it to go away? And it's not to be to be feared. So how do we make the most use of it? So I want to turn this over to you. You've got the expertise, and what is it we need to know about AI? Where are we with it? Where's it going? All that.
All right, stuff. Great. So let me first of all address some of the fears that are in the market or in the minds of people. First one is whether it's going to take away jobs. And my answer to that is it's not going to take away, AI is not going to take away your job, but somebody who knows and understands AI and uses AI will take away your job, because all it is it's going to make you more productive, more creative, more accurate. And just like with any other technology, if you start to get good at it and millions of other people are using it, then you better start using it if you want to stay competitive, right?
Well, it's interesting, back in the 80s when the first computers started being available sort of to the mass market, it was like, oh no, computers are going to take away our jobs. It's like now they're on every desktop.
Exactly.
And literally in every pocket. Our phones have become supercomputers. So they haven't taken away anything. They've enhanced what we have.
Absolutely.
And we've had to learn how to harness their capabilities to work for us. So
So that is the same paradigm we are going through. Only the benefits this time around will be like 100 times more or 1,000 times more. Another fear that people have is AI will take over humanity and will decide that we are no longer necessary. It will become self-aware. So to that, I say a few things. There are millions and millions of species on this planet. And there's only one species which wages organized war against each other, and that's humans. And there is no other species on this planet that does that. So in order for an AI to become self-aware or ambitious or jealous, somebody will need to be to program some sort of an algorithm to put into AI and say, okay, now you are going to be jealous of another species, and you're going to have like a nefarious mindset to figure out how to destroy other human beings or other species. And that just sounds really ridiculous to me, because in order for somebody to be create that kind of algorithm, you yourself have to be so self-aware. You yourself have to understand where all these sort of negative emotions originate and all that. And I don't think even 1% of humanity itself is self-aware today, let alone thinking about AI becoming self-aware, right? So the first
That's
step.
hilarious. What you
Yeah.
just said, not even 1% of humanity is self-aware.
Yeah. Yeah. But
That's
that's the
awesome.
truth, right? That's the
Yeah.
truth. So my advice to people is, before you fear anybody else, let's try to conquer ourselves first and understand what humanity is all about. And then coming to how, what is the impact of this technology? So as we said, every technology that has been invented so far, it has to enhance the human quality of life. And you can go back as far as the printing press or even before. Everything has given us more opportunity, more freedom, more time to do what we want to do. The difference this time around is that every other piece of technology has been to enhance our physical abilities. So meaning car can help us go faster, the crane can help us lift heavier weights. Now, artificial intelligence is the only technology that can help us think better, or it enhances our cognitive abilities, our mental abilities, rather than our physical abilities. So that's the transformative power of this technology, where now we can almost like learn anything 100 times faster and be better at it, and create better results for our clients, our kids, our communities, our businesses, our life. And so that is the transformative power. I'll give you a couple of examples, right? So these days, so let's talk about healthcare, for example. In order to develop a drug for a disease, it used to take like 10 years and billions of dollars. And the reason is because you have to test many molecules. You have to create that molecule, test it on animals, then test it on human beings, and go through series of tests. But now with AI, you can actually simulate what impact this particular drug is going to have, and that speeds up the discovery process of a drug. It also creates an environment where now we can think about having personalized medicine. So a pharmaceutical company, whether you like them or not, can actually start to say, okay, I'll take your DNA sample and I'll create a drug which is custom, invented for your body, or something that is really beneficial to you and have no side effects. So these kind of things will be possible with AI. And before that, obviously, with industrial age, we got a lot of benefits, but we don't have like a world that is suited so well for a person, for a human being, for an individual.
I think you've said a couple of things that I want to highlight here, Manuj. One is that the technology AI allows for really rapid simulation, and in healthcare, for example, it's actually going to help us because as a unique body, it will be able to analyze exactly what's needed for us. Now there will be people that will be afraid of that, as there are currently. That said, I think that our unique body at this individual time, in this snapshot of time, like my body is different than it was 10 years ago.
Exactly.
What it needed 10 years ago is going to be different than what it needs today. The amount of vaccine that I get, for example, it's going to be metabolized differently.
Exactly.
I love the idea of that. I know that it's coming. I know that two major organizations just recently joined together to create a more modern healthcare provision. So that's amazing. I just want to underscore that. I see that as a huge plus. There will be a lot of people that see it as something to be afraid of. I think data is data, our bodies are, it's like, I don't know that the government is going to be invading and controlling who gets what. Here's a question I have. Like, AI enhances, you've said, enhances our cognitive abilities. Now, I'm a bit of a researcher. I love to read, all of that. So if I'm asking for all the latest of anything, bang, here it is. And it's synthesized. So I can get a synthesized, like a summary of dozens of articles all at once. Fantastic. My question is this: how do we identify critical thinking? Right? Critical thinking isn't necessarily something that the AI can do. It can mimic it, but it's also based on the programmer's bias, is it not?
So great question. So I'll try to unpack it in multiple ways. See, bias. So if we think about AI as being an extension of human consciousness itself is biased in many ways, right? So we can say, we can claim that I have done so much work to remove all the biases, but as we have evolved as animals, as human beings, we have inherent biases we cannot get rid of. 200,000 years of evolution cannot be removed in an instant, no matter how woke we get. So AI is nothing else but it is going to reflect the true world of biases around us. So once again, it goes back to my original argument that if we want AI to have no bias at all, we first need to work on ourselves and try to reduce those biases in the real world. So it is going to reflect the same thing. Second thing about critical thinking is, of course, critical thinking depends upon our curiosity, our expansion of our mind, and our ability to ask the right questions. And the way that our world has been set up is we become very, very good at critical thinking in a particular field. Since industrialization created a society where everything sort of needed specialization. So, a doctor is going to know so much about the human body, but may not know anything about how the car works. An engineer will know so much about the car, but have no idea how the body works. But now these people have become critical thinkers in their field. Now, imagine a very super intelligent human being or entity, which is AI, which can now say, okay, let's look at the lessons you learn from repairing a car and what can be applied to human body and vice versa. Before the advent of AI, I don't think you can put together a car expert who fixes cars and a doctor and have them exchange meaningful ideas. There's going to be no a meaningful exchange whatsoever. But with AI, you can actually start to see those patterns, and now your mind expands in multiple areas, and that gives rise to a brand new level of critical thinking, right?
I love every bit of this, and I know that it does scare a lot of people just because it's so unknown. For me, I can see the predictive qualities where if you look at animal conservancy, for example, right, there are animals that are on the verge of extinction. And if we do this XYZ in the environment, what's the impact globally around the world for this animal?
Exactly.
Right. And I just see that there are so many ways of actually saving our planet versus, the path that we're on, which is like, well, we need this resource, and oops, it actually, affected this. It's like, we need this resource. Where else might we get it?
Exactly.
I could predict where to get it and also what the effects are. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. So, so what do we, somebody who's just getting through their day, what do we do with it? How do we access it for ourselves? What's it look
Yeah.
like in daily life?
See, what you have done is exactly what people need to do. Sign up for a ChatGPT account, and if you want to use it, pay for it. But otherwise, it's free. What I tell people is start treating AI, ChatGPT in particular, as your most intelligent friend. So, if you're a business owner, think of it as a employee you just hired who has passed the legal bar exam, who has passed the medical exam, who has passed an MBA, who has knowledge about history, anthropology, all of these things. If you were able to find an employee like that and who is available to you 24/7, will answer any question, what kind of progress you will be able to make in your life, and treat that chat gpt as your friend and say, hey, I have this question. I was wondering about this. What do you think? What are the blind spots I'm not seeing right now? And then you will start to see how AI responds, and that is the cognitive expansion of your mind that will happen. Because once you start to see these various areas, your mind will start to see, light bulbs will start to go off in your mind. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about this. How can I ask more questions? So as we all know, asking better questions is a skill that we really, if we start to develop that, that gives rise to so much, including critical thinking. So use this opportunity to use AI to get better at asking questions. And then the second thing is use it to tell better stories. Because once again, looking at human evolution, language was just sort of invented or discovered about 7,000 years ago. Written language, or the symbols or the alphabet that we use. Before that, everything used to be passed on from generation to generation using stories. So again, it is hardwired in our mind how it evolved to learn about the environment around us by using stories. So again, we are not really good storytellers. We are not taught any of these communication skills. So if you just use AI for these two skills, asking better questions, telling better stories, within a couple of weeks, you'll start to feel such a shift mentally and physically in your life. And I give this tip to a lot of people. Try this, if you will. Uh, Write out a story about your life, about your journey. If you have kids, let's say you want to connect better with them, if you want to connect with your co-workers, whatever it is, ask ChatGPT to write a detailed story of about your personal experience, about 1,000 words or so. Because if I ask you to give me a story, generally we stop at 2 or 3 sentences. Oh, I went on a vacation with my kids, I had fun time. It doesn't really engage the audience. But if you feed in even 2 3 sentences like that into ChatGPT and say, give me a detailed description of what happened at the trip, and now you share that story with somebody, you will see how magnetic of a personality you become. Like they will want to know more and more and more, and that's you will feel the power right there in that moment.
Amazing. Amazing. It is a skill. Asking questions is a skill, and telling stories is a skill, because there's, most stories have the beginning. There's a struggle that's overcome. There's new information that's gleaned, and then there's some amazing outcome. And ChatGPT can do that. Here's a question, though. When I first signed up, there were these big disclaimers that said, not all the information is going to be accurate.
Yeah.
And I read this example that was talking about how the benefits of smoking, and it's like,
yeah.
So it's not always factually correct, although it's getting better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
How do we know?
Yeah.
How do we
Okay.
know that it's right or not right or whatever?
Yeah. So I'll answer it in multiple parts. One is that once again, don't think of AI as being separate from a human consciousness. Like, I mean, if you talk to 100 people, I'm sure 10 will say, "Oh, yeah, there are some benefits of smoking. Here are they." Like so. So this truly has no bias in that sense, that it is collecting data from all over the internet, and then saying, okay, if you want to know about the benefits of smoking, here they are. Second thing is, the idea of what I'm trying to convey is that in real life we also make up stuff, all the time. Wherever there is missing information, we just fill in the blanks and we say, oh, nobody's going to notice, right? So
In the absence of information, we make stuff up. It is absolutely true.
Exactly. And so that's exactly what AI is doing now. Now, as AI gets smarter, we have some people pointing it out that, okay, this is not correct, or regulations come into place. These things will be ironed out. Remember, this is just the beginning. It's in its infancy. I mean, ChatGPT released by OpenAI in November 2022. It's been less than 6 months. It already has 1 billion users, right? That's about 12% of human population on this planet is already using this. So we have still a long way to go. If you consider, industries like education, it has been around for centuries. Industries like transportation, it has been around for at least 200 centuries. Construction, modern construction, it has been around for at least a century. So you can imagine in 10, 15, 20 years, we'll have much more robust implementations. But that is not to say we need to wait that long to start using it, taking advantage of it.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, start it now. How do we know? I've seen these videos on Facebook somewhere, and on YouTube, and it's like, oh, you ask it this, and then you take that answer and you plug it into this next thing, and then you take that and you plug it in there. What's connected to what? How do you actually export from ChatGPT? Because when you ask a question, you get this big long sheet, but there's no obvious button to say, okay, turn this into a Word document that I'm then going to use.
Well, right now it is simply copy and paste, but ChatGPT is coming up with some plugins. So once again, remember, this is like those of you in the audience and who are old enough to remember when the internet was just coming up. Like the earliest websites were just plain HTML. Like there was not much going on other than people just sharing their ideas. So you can consider we are at that level, right? Like plain
We're
HTML.
at dial-up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are at dial-up right now. And then slowly awesome. People started to figure out, oh, maybe I can use it for banking. Maybe I can use it for e-commerce. Maybe, and then one day Jeff Bezos said, oh, maybe I should sell books using this technology, and became the richest person on the planet. So that's where we are at. Like my advice to people is, use it as a platform, and then start to think about what real problems you can start solving, and then start working on that. And then, there's going to be many Jeff Bezoses, many Mark Zuckerbergs that will come out of this sort of wave of technology.
So I'm taking notes as you're writing. I personally love the question, what real problems can we solve using artificial intelligence? What real problems can we solve? One of the things that I'm sort of allergic to or shying away from is the idea of thinking that AI it gets smarter. Because I think that's a personal attribute. I think it's a human attribute that we ascribe to it. I don't know that it's smarter or dumber. It's gaining more information that we then are responsible for weeding through. And we are going to be the ultimate in critical thinking. So we need to know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of what real problems, what real world problems, what real personal problems might this solve.
You are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well-being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
Where do you see, let's go to the fear place. Where do you see this getting people into trouble, or getting itself into trouble, or getting humanity into trouble? Like where could things go badly?
So, as you said, one thing we have to really understand that AI is historical data, right? What we are looking at is history. And as we know, humanity has reached this status, but by learning from history, but also dreaming about the future that doesn't
Mhm.
exist today, right? So, so think about ChatGPT and AI as your history, which can give you more ideas about what is the future you want to create, and then you can use AI to speed up that future. But you should never let go of the fact that you are in the driving seat, you are
Mhm.
building your future. You
Yeah.
cannot just say, AI, let's say a doctor uses AI to help them diagnose something. AI says, okay, yeah, go ahead, cut off the leg. And then doctor says, yeah, okay, AI told me cut off the leg. The leg is gone. They gotta use their own experience. Even if AI becomes super smart, the human element still remains.
Yes.
The empathetic element still remains. So the doctor who's responsible for the patient still has to figure out in talking to the patient that, okay, what is the best course of action here. So these are some of the things that I will say. Like in terms of fear, I really don't fear technology itself. I don't fear that AI is going to say, okay, kill all humans. What are the concerns? Are there's going to be some social unrest, for example, if we don't deal with this quickly enough. Let's say half the population stays away from AI, and few people start using it to gain massive advantage. That's going to create more divide in society. If people don't embrace it, there's going to be job displacement. That may become an issue. And the worst case scenario is some lunatic uses AI for nefarious purposes. But to all of these arguments, I say it's exactly the same thing with any other technology. I can take a car and I can run over somebody on purpose, or I can take the car and go to the grocery store. The idea is to rely on the overall goodness of humanity to say, okay, if 5% of bad apples get hold of this technology, the rest of the 95% will have enough counterweight to that we will be able to survive that, right?
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I think with every problem, there are new solutions, and this might actually solve some of the problems that we as humans have created.
Exactly.
Including how to manage the incarcerated.
Yeah.
Like there's even that. You talk about the bad apples. It's like, well, what have we done with them? We've separated them. Well, what if there's another kind of solution out there?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. I don't know what to ask you next. Like I'm like, I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the topic of AI is so interesting. I'll say one thing. Like this is we are living in such a transformative age. I believe I believe this period, just like we have BC before Christ and AD after Christ. I think this will be another sort of period like that, before ChatGPT and after ChatGPT, because
BAI before
yeah,
AI. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. So that's the power of AI. Like I really want people to not give in to fear or misinformation, and just like take baby steps and adopt it, because that's how powerful this technology is.
Yeah, I'm going to reframe that versus, before Christian era, BCE versus, and call it, all right, so we have the, the Bronze Age, the Industrial Revolution, right? We have different times where, and then the information age, and now we have the artificial intelligence age.
Yeah.
I think that we are growing into it that way, that it's that, yes, this is an age of different technology. We're not relying on machines to do our work. As you said, we're relying on computers and data mining to actually point us in a particular direction. We still get to, not have to, we still get to follow that direction or choose a different direction.
Absolutely.
Let me bring you back to I do have another question that sort of sparked. I know that you have a spiritual element to you in the background. You've got, your salt block, the Buddha head. It's like, that's awesome. So here's a question, is because I also know you're into meditation. How do these overlap?
Okay, so that's a great question. See, in fact, I became so passionate about AI because I had some problems in my life with my mental health. So I was depressed at one point. I was even suicidal, and I got out of that situation by working on my own mind, understanding my own mind, meditation, and it had such an impact on my life that I wanted to share that with other people. And obviously, as you talk to other people about things like meditation, the first answer you get, I don't have time for that. And so I started thinking, okay, first of all, I said, if you don't have time, maybe that is the reason you should meditate, because you'll get more time.
It's true. That's absolutely true.
So, but anyway, it's hard to convince people. But what I noticed was that AI, as I said, AI is sort of a reflection of our mind. It's a continuum. So if you can see around the world today, all the information is already controlled by AI, and it has come to a point where elections are won and lost based on who can understand AI and use it to their advantage better. So our minds are already being sort of manipulated or controlled by AI. So if I use that same technology not to manipulate, not to sensationalize, I can actually use it to create a meditative effect in people's mind and have them experience what meditation may feel like, not to the same extent, but how does it feel like. So the exercise which I gave you about the storytelling, you can actually say, okay, rather than talking about a story in my past, paint a story, write a story about my future. What does the future look like for me? So maybe you have some goals about your life. You want to retire, you want to travel, you want to find a spouse, whatever your goals are. You can say, okay, you can write that story in the future as if it has already happened, and you can describe your life. I'm going on a vacation with my kids. I'm boarding the plane. It's great. I'm in first class. I've just got served champagne. Blah blah blah, whatever, and you will and read that story to yourself for 7 days, 10 days, and now and write back to me how you felt. That sensation you feel after imagining your life like that, that's basically the beginning journey of your meditation. And once you start to get hooked to that, that's like a the best drug that you can get addicted to, in a for the lack of a better word, because that is your true essence, that is your true happiness. And that's how you can use AI for meditation and spirituality.
That's amazing. I do all kinds of reading, and Neville Goddard's book, The Power of Awareness, is sitting here on my desk. The idea of integrating awareness and feeling, and that's how you actually generate accomplishment. Project yourself forward, and what you're saying is, hey, you know what? Get some help. Get a script from ChatGPT, and put in the things that you want in your life, and get that script, and then feel what it feels like, as if you already have it. I'm a big fan of that. I do that when I run some of my retreats for leaders. We walk through, like, what's it feel like? You already have this thing that you said you wanted. What does that feel like for you? And it's great. Yeah. And that's not something AI can do for you. That's something that, AI gives you a script. It's up to you to read it, to feel it. Like the human feeling is still the human feeling.
Exactly.
So,
But now you can see, like, just using a technology, it can generate that emotion. It can manufacture that emotion, right?
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So now we step into the territory of, okay, it's going to learn, quote unquote, learn how to mimic human emotion. We will have robots that have facial, quote unquote, muscles, right? There will be and so we will see a human response in the robots that we engage with. And so the question is that good for us? Is it bad for us? Is it okay? And I have some thoughts based on studies that came out of the 1960s, actually. I'm just curious about where you see this going and what your thoughts are, and then I'll talk about the studies that I'm referring to.
See, the way I look at it is that the world around us. The funny thing is that what I feel like, humans have this such a narrow view of the universe. Like, we are the center of attention of everything else, as if we are the masters of the universe, right? So we look at it, everything separate from us, and say, oh, okay, what happens if the robot, if I come across a robot? Well, robot has been created by humans, which is part of the universe, which is part of evolution, right? So we didn't actually, I mean, if you think about that technology, it's like an offshoot of humanity. All we have done is created another toy and amused ourselves and say, hey, this toy can talk and create expressions like me, and that makes my life easier, and I can talk to it and whatnot. But it is no different than saying that, I got a hammer which I can use to hammer a nail. It when I'm holding the hammer, it is part of me. It is an extension of me. We have prosthetic legs and arms and all that. People used to feel weird about that initially, but now it's second nature. Like, it has made so much advancement. Now people want to get that. So thinking that technology is separate from us is sort of like the beginning, sort of misnomer, if you will, or the mistake that we tend to make.
It is a philosophy that I actually appreciate very much. That understanding that we're not separate, that we're connected already, and it's not that we're plugged into AI. It's that AI is part of the universe, the cosmos that we created. Therefore, it is part of us. The same way that the desk that we're sitting at, you're sitting at a different desk than I am, and yet there's a connectedness to that desk. So, and yes, the desk is separate from the me human. Energetically, it's a necessity, and it's there, and therefore a part of me. That's kind of too deep to go into on a 1 hour podcast or less, right?
Yeah,
so, but I love that. I love the philosophy. And that it is a toy, that if we create a robot, it is there actually in service to us. We have vacuums that are little round things that go and sweep our houses for us. That's AI. They're studying our houses. We've created games that create little characters that are projected. That's AI. It's already there. So I'm appreciative of that. The study that I was referring to is interesting, and I can't remember whose study. It came out of the 1960s. They basically separated baby monkeys from their moms, and it was all about attachment. The idea of we need to attach to something.
I know that study.
Right. So monkeys will attach. They basically put fur on a bleach bottle. And they gave the monkeys this bleach bottle, and the monkeys clung to it. Right. And then they were like, well, is it really about clinging to the fur?
Yeah.
And they took the fur off and they gave it just a plastic bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And the monkeys clung to it. And so the really, I was thinking about that as you were talking, because it's like we as humans, we as primates, right? We as primates and as humans need that feeling of connection.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this kind of dopamine hit that we get by an oxytocin hit, right? By a hug.
Yeah.
Can we get that by hugging a robot?
Well, it's remains to be seen. The other thing we have to realize is that we carry a lot of mental conceptions about what the world may look like, and as we evolve, those mental conceptions start to dissolve, and things become new normal. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say, um, in when we were living in caves, probably most people did not bother about covering their body in summertime, and there is no shame in the nakedness, right? But now that social sort of construct is embedded in our mind that we need to be civil and cover our bodies and things like that. And so you can see the mental shift that has happened and how we perceive the world around us. The same thing. I mean, I don't believe if I hug a robot, I'll feel exact same thing, but I may feel maybe 80% of the emotion. But I believe that after it has become so normalized in 50, 100, 200, 300 years, I believe there's going to be some sort of a fusion between man and machine, in the sense that we will be able to feel that emotion inherently, or maybe the machines will get so much better that we won't be able even to tell the difference.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Amazing. I just noticed what you're wearing on your index finger.
Mhm.
Is that it's an Aura ring, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So data set, like I have one, I'm wearing
Yeah.
mine. So, data is being collected all the time. We use it to monitor sleep. We monitor heart rate. We monitor oxygen levels. So it's back to that. It's sort of like that's intelligence that's being gathered, and it's being stored as a data set about humanity. How do we sleep? What's what makes us better? So it gets back to then.
Yeah.
This could actually enhance our lives. How amazing.
Right? Yeah. Data is the new oil. Data is new gold. So anybody who's listening, if you have tons of data, or if you don't have data, start collecting data, about your body, about your family, about your community, about your, about like data is going to be the raw material for the future.
So there are companies out there. I mean, data is the new oil. So, in terms of investing, it's like, who are the companies that are collecting the data? Mm-hmm. And, those are going to be the winners. I'm not offering financial advice, mm-hmm. Nor am I an expert. That said, you can predict that with data being as vital to the human race's future, it is going to be a commodity. It's amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. What didn't I ask you, Manuj? I think this is great. It's I started by going, I'm over my head. I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like, well, maybe I have an inkling. And I know that obviously there's so much more to come. What else should we be talking about? What didn't I ask? And I know that you want people to connect with you on LinkedIn, so let's talk about that too.
Yeah. As I said, like, there's not much more I can say than remove. Like my first order of business as an expert in this field is to remove the fear and remove the misinformation. So if I was able to do that during this conversation, then I think I have accomplished my goal. But if not, and you still have any fear or doubt, or you say, oh, Elon Musk is saying stop AI, or anything like that, then I can tell you behind the scenes what is happening, because Elon Musk is actually developing more powerful AI than
How
OpenAI.
can
So,
he? Yeah, I didn't know that he was saying that. It would surprise me if he said that, because how can you stop AI when it's AI that runs the driverless cars?
exactly. So
What? Like
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
He's the
So,
one that put Starlink in the,
yeah,
it's like a series of satellites.
yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are lots of shades of gray. My just request to you people is, like, this is once in a lifetime or once in multi-generational opportunity. These kind of opportunities never come, and we should all be so, feel so lucky that we are living through this age, and we are seeing how the world is going to be transformed. So participate in that.
That's amazing. It is. It's sort of like, when televisions, came, and when it's like people stopped listening to the radio the same way because they could see live pictures, and then it turned from black and white to color, and then computers were this slow, and the internet was this dial up, and I was this dates me a little bit. I did research where I had punch cards for computers before there was actually ever a screen where you could see another person. You were looking at what numbers were showing up, and now it's like we're doing interviews from thousands of miles away. It's awesome. And so I think you have accomplished what you set out to do, which is to alleviate some fears, to spark more ideas, to encourage people to step into it's like, if you don't know something, that actually defines bias. If you don't know something, you don't just stand there and judge it. You step in and learn about it. And so, the invitation to learn more about AI, either by joining ChatGPT or by, reaching out to you directly. So that's great. I'm going to spell your name so that people can find you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right. So go to linkedin.com and look for Manuj. And then it's Aggarwal, which is Manuj Aggarwal, Manuj Aggarwal. And then do you have a website as well, or is that just?
Yeah. So one easier way to connect with me is manuj.ca. So my first name, manuj.ca for Canada. So manuj.ca, or my personal website is manujaggarwal.com. So it's my first name, last name.com as well. So.
And then what is Tetranoodle? Is that something?
So that's my consulting company. Yeah. So that's my company that I started in 2001. So we provide technology consulting for people who want to incorporate technology into their business, maybe, incorporate AI into their business, learn about how AI can help them build mobile apps. So we have done a lot of technology projects for like startups and Fortune 500 companies. So anything to do with technology, we can help with that. Plus, we bring the human element of technology into it as well.
That's awesome. So I can send people to tetranoodle.com.
Yeah.
Love that. That's, for some reason, that just seems easier than using your last name, Aggarwal.
Yeah.
But it's all there. It'll be in the show notes. I've been typing as well while you're talking. So it's there. Really great. Wonderful to have you. This has been kind of fast, actually. I was thinking, how much will there be to talk about?
Yeah.
We covered a lot, and I
Nice.
appreciate it. Appreciate you
Of course.
being here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
All righty. Manuj Aggarwal was my guest. This is One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the Exponential Success Coach. We will see you here next time. Thanks for joining us.